YouTube, it's Tone, back with another one for you. And so this one here is a continuation of Cracking the Code. This book is fire. You're gonna see why. So right here we get into some of the shit that the lawyers do, what they are, and things like that. And so let's get right into this shit. So it says the law firm has since acquired a copy of the first manual because they were asking for it as soon as the book was being written. But likely none of the attorneys availed themselves to the process. You see, an attorney occupies a special place in the grand scheme of things because an attorney's connection with the crown, the source of the attorney's British title of nobility, which is the British Accreditation Registry, right? That's what the bar stands for. All judges and esquires as well, via his or her misnamed license to practice law. A license to practice law doesn't even fucking exist. They just say that shit. Tell them to fucking show you one. Matter of fact, I challenge you to Google one and try to find a fucking picture of one. They don't fucking exist. And because only an attorney can represent the banks and corporations or artificial persons that are owned, controlled by the owners, creditors of almost every single government on earth, attorneys cannot personally access this program. Attorneys are hired guns, mercenaries of the hate merchants and warmongers that operate the legal juggernaut that is intent on devouring the last shreds of personal wealth and freedom of the common folk of the world. Every whore has her price, and these motherfuckers are whores. And this type is no exception. Judges and attorneys or esquires have literally sold their soul to the devil for the inside track of a few easy bucks. Accordingly, since they are owned, they can never access sovereignty, and they're all actually foreign agents, and they have to sign a foreign agent registration. So you can ask them for that. I actually have an affidavit for that if you want. Email me for that. So just like the whore, they have no personal freedom till the customer is satisfied that he got what he paid for. For esquires, it's a lifetime affair with the crown and the powers behind it. Accessing sovereignty requires that an esquire renounce his or her so-called license to practice law and his or her relationship with the privately owned judicial system and cease practicing as an esquire altogether. A cure more unpleasant than bearing the disease for most such whores. Nearly all will carry on, a few may break away. Esquires also fascistly believe that they are immune against attacks from the little people. As you will learn from the Tin Man, TIN, tax identification number man, just like in The Wizard of Oz, as you will discover in the practical portion of this manual, the laws of commerce are heartless and apply equally with all, including attorneys and judges. For a comprehensive expose on the skeletons in an esquire's closet, see Section 2, The Truth About Esquires. Any judge attorney who attempts using your private copywritten trade name for financial gain without first obtaining your express written authorization and consent faces the same legal commercial consequences that anyone else will: cataclysmic personal financial ruin, because in commerce, all are equal under the law. And that's a motherfucking fact. That's why the contracts that we got, the estoppels and things of that nature. So what that contract does essentially is that it nails them to the wall privately and publicly. So you have them on both angles because you're sending it directly to them. So they can't run and hide as a man privately, nor can they hide as a public character with fucking immunity. They can't operate that way anymore. So that's how you hit them right there on both sides. So judges, though also esquires, are a different creature than attorneys and receive special training in Reno, Nevada. National Judicial College, 3,500 judges trained each year, and Scottsdale, Arizona, sometimes hundreds of hours over their careers for learning better ways of applying the UCC in courtroom and handling dissidents and unruly slaves who set a bad example for the other paying customers. This is the genius of the legal masters of the world. The populace and even many of the bar attorneys themselves believe that the law being practiced in the courtroom is the law, the only law being administered in the courtroom, whereas it is actually only a carefully orchestrated shadow of a real thing, an exhibition in histrionics par excellence. So all it is a fucking act. they get scared to death when somebody walks in there knowing what the fuck that they're talking about, because then it knocks them out of their fucking hypnotic trance that they're probably in from running through people like a fucking conveyor belt. You know what I'm saying? So the UCC is not particularly concerned with Social Security account numbers, and including such is an option on the filing forms. The UCC filing office located in each state and elsewhere provides public notice of private matters and is concerned primarily with, let's see what we got here. Definitely get your UCC done. Do that. Identifying those registered within by name only. Just like it was 100 years ago before the Federal Reserve Act and Social Security Act, when a man's name, honor, and reputation were his most valuable personal possessions, and upon which his entire future depended in is no small part. So when I do mine, I do it like the one man out. If you guys want a book with the process of how to do your UCC and all that shit, and what the contract agreement needs to look like and things like that, it's in the book called One Man Out. Email me for it. I'll send it right to you for free. And so, I lean my BC, my social, and all that shit is leaned up. So, does that stop them from trying to access it? Absolutely not. But you have to know to keep that shit with you and fucking and just hand it to them whenever you see them, because it has your fee schedule on there and everything too. So, if they want to be stupid, you already know what time it is, because if they move forward after you put them on notice, then they agree to the contract, then they need to pay you. Really that simple. And they can't pretend to not know, because it's public notice when you file that shit with the UCC. But on top of that, we notice all these agents individually as well, okay? This is how you're getting them. As you will discover, the Social Security account number is a public number associated with a public persona, a person, a legal entity different from yourself, and artificial as well. Existing in contemplation only by force of law alone, this is your alter ego, your all caps name, your letter, your trade name, your straw man, is a legal term for a frontman or nominal party in a transaction, existing in name only, through which the owner can accomplish some purpose not otherwise permitted. And so the purpose of that essentially is your commercial conduit, because a real man cannot interact with the public, which operates in a fictional realm. Therefore, you have your all capital letter trade name, which is your commercial entity or your piece on the monopoly board. Right? Because you can't physically stand on the monopoly board because it's too small. It's not real. But you can throw your little piece on there and pretend that you're there. That's what your straw man is, okay? It's never been you. The same thing with the children. That's all they're ever making reference to when you go to court, all right? They're only talking about your fucking, they're only referencing your child, because all that they have jurisdiction over is the piece of paper that makes reference to your child, not your physical child. That's how they're kidnapping people, all right? A straw man serves its own master with slavish devotion, but you did not even know that until you did not even know that you had one. He has been running around, obligating you and entering into all kinds of unconscionable contracts and causing you much grief, heartache, and economic misery. It is time you get to know this fellow and set things straight. This manual will show you how to discover your straw man and bring him under your control instead of theirs. Most people understand that the law is very precise, with legalized deadly violence associated with the words appearing in the text of the codes that are enforced by courts and armed police alike, right? The English language and its accepted rules of grammar are likewise precise, however, and make no accommodation for writing proper nouns in all capital letters. The all capital letters written that appears on your Social Security card and driver's license, passport, bank statements, credit cards, and which is rigidly insisted upon, enforced by the legal system, is not there by mistake, but it is your true name, which consists of the given Christian name plus the surname, family name, and appears with only initials and letters capitalized. The all caps version of your trade name, the name under which you do business, and is written in another language entirely. It's called Legalese. All caps is dog Latin, just so you know. It's not English, and it means something else. Okay? So all names, including true names, constitute property and can be copyrighted under the common law. Strangely enough, the source of all money in circulation today is your and your other trade name, and your signed promise to pay in exchange for loans of credit or air issued in the name. Banks are accounting and bookkeeping operations with only enough cash on hand to keep customers satisfied, and covertly use your trade name and your promise to pay to create money and generate profit. The long-term intention of the money power is to abolish cash completely and leave people with trackable electronic funds only. Because all names are no more than property, no one is his trade name, nor is anyone his true name. Okay? And that's what it is, because you are you. So I would say that I am me, and that's it. The fuck you mean? So the primary reason we are faced with the current dismal state of the affairs is people's misunderstanding of the nature of their name. Whereas a sovereign uses his name only for purposes of recognizing that someone else's desires communication with him or her, nearly all people have lost sight of their own sovereign character via confusion about the name. Your true name more closely approximates who you are, but is not corporate. And that's the thing, because you can't be your name because you're you. So your name only makes reference to you as well. You see that? You see how that shit works? But they always try to trick you into fucking accepting the liability for that straw man. Like the trade name, the legal masters of the world have capitalized on this simple distinction between true name and trade name to ensure your continued subjugation. The primary pitfall is that in all capital letters, trade name sounds exactly like a true name when spoken. The phenomenon has no particular significance in our society except in a courtroom, and a courtroom can be a dangerous place to be. Thankfully, this manual can help you stay out of the courtrooms, but not everyone is so fortunate. Simple observation tells us that a primary function of today's private, foreign-owned, and operated court system is the transfer of personal wealth and freedom into the hands of the courts, banks, governments, corporations, and tax agencies. The judge is calling out a name in one language, Legalese. He is reading from the legal documents in front of him, and the customer is innocently listening and answering in another language, English. This otherwise harmless overlap of language is then immediately, forcefully, and unmercifully applied to the victim's profound detriment. Such deception is now indispensable in maintaining the current level of commercial profit levels of the court. By following the procedures outlined in this manual, unwanted victimization at the hands of the judicial legal system can be minimized and even avoided, bypassed altogether. The UCC provides for filing officers in each state and elsewhere so that a creditor may give formal public notice of the legal relationship between himself and a debtor. It allows for the creditor, called the secured party, to perfect, legally establish a security interest, private lien, above all others, including government, in the property of the debtor, thereby ensuring repayment or specific performance by the debtor, or officially precluding any third party from impairing the private contract. As shown herein, the straw man, the trade name, is the debtor, and you, the secured party. Your exact relationship with each other is more precisely defined in a private agreement. A description of the property pledged by the debtor as collateral securing the obligation is contained in a security agreement. Significant additions in the third edition are the copyright notice to be published under legal notices in the newspaper, and the new security agreement, which has been broken up into three separate interrelated documents. In strict accordance with the revised Article 9 dictates that the remaining articles of the UCC, this new security agreement package affords anyone the opportunity to fortify his or her position as never before by reposing all property in an airtight package impervious to legal commercial attack, including that of the IRS. The best time for handling trouble is before it arrives, and this new package affords such opportunity. The most dramatic aspect of the third edition is the facility for obtaining a non-judicial judgment against any legal attacker would insist upon using your private property trade name for financial gain without your authorization, be he or she a judge, prosecutor, IRS agent, attorney, traffic cop, government agent, anyone. Herefore, such have used your trade name to pad their own bank account. This will no longer be the case. You see, so that's one of the major pluses of getting this shit done, is that nobody will be able to use your name without fucking paying you. Right? So you don't have to go there arguing with their stupid asses. You just go there like, where the fuck's my money? You know what I mean? It's a whole different ball game. Each such character will face financial ruin in short order should he or she insist on using your copyrighted property without your permission after having been noticed. The non-judicial foreclosure process follows closely thereafter, and no one has a monopoly on it. You see, so the shit is worth its weight in gold, to be honest with you. So the code encrypting esquires of the money power have crafted the UCC and now revised Article 9 for the high-speed transfer of wealth, which is yours, into Big Brother's coffers without the nuisance of consulting the courts. For this very reason, and because the code is now cracked, regular folks can use the same procedure for thwarting would-be legal marauders and can reverse the wealth transfer flow against anyone who foolishly believes that he can take private property without just compensation. And I always keep my tax papers on me too, so if any of these fucking clowns force me to do business, bro, IRS criminal investigations is going to want their fucking money too, because they're not tax exempt organizations, they're not governments, they're fucking pretending to be government, they're fucking actors. Really that simple. Because the IRS wouldn't be able to come tax these fucking assholes if they were really government. Government is a tax exempt organization. These motherfuckers are not. They're tax evading fucking pieces of shit. If you want to be real, that's what they are. So you need not toil under the threat of paper terrorism of the legal system any longer. With what is available here, you can, with certainty and confidence, regain control of your life and protect yourself, your family, and your property from the rapacious Moloch that is government and separate any would-be bandit in the employ thereof from his wealth, property, if he insists on proceeding without compensating you. Helping you accomplish these things by unraveling the mystery, exposing the key elements, and guiding you through is the aim of this manual. Hoping your journey is a pleasant one. With admiration, the authors. So, this book is fire. You guys are going to like it. It is a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these dickheads. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.